My mom uninvited me from Easter this year because apparently Easter is for successful children only. The kicker. I'd been covering my golden boy brother's rent and my sister's college expenses for the past 18 months. I texted her back, "Good luck with next bill." And now, suddenly, they're all begging me to reconsider. Hey Reddit, never thought I'd be airing out family drama here, but this Easter situation got so insane I just need to get it off my chest. TLDR. My mom uninvited me from Easter dinner because I wasn't successful enough, while I've secretly been bankrolling my golden child brother's rent and my sister's college for a year and a half. When I finally cut them off, everyone suddenly wanted to be family again. I'm Marcus, 28M. I work as a senior network engineer for a tech company in Austin. I make about $95,000 a year. Not bad, considering I started 5 years ago on the help desk with just a community college degree and some self-taught certifications. Now, I own a 2-bedroom condo in North Austin, bought it before the market went nuts, drive a paid-off Honda Accord, have an emergency fund, and contribute to my 401k like a responsible adult. Nothing flashy but stable. My family is Mom 52F, my golden child brother Tyler 25M, and my sister Emma 20F. My dad died in a construction accident when I was 14. Mom raised us alone with his life insurance money and her county clerk salary, around $42,000 a year. And here's where things get toxic. Tyler has always been the favorite. Star quarterback in high school, 6 feet 2 inches, classic All-American look. Mom beamed with pride at every game, convinced he was destined for the NFL. She plastered Facebook with posts about her future pro athlete son. Reality. He blew out his ACL in an off-season workout sophomore year, lost his scholarship, failed 3 classes junior year, and dropped out. Since then, he's been finding himself, bouncing between part-time jobs, gyms, supplement stores, random gigs that lasted 6 months before he quit because the manager didn't understand his potential. Now, he calls himself a social media influencer. He's got 847 Instagram followers and a TikTok where he posts generic gym content. Stuff like grind never stops and success is a mindset, paired with shirtless mirror selfies. His engagement is sad, maybe 200 views on a good day, and the comments are mostly from mom and her church friends writing, "So proud of you," and "Keep it up." Despite that, he lives in a downtown Austin studio. $1,800 a month rent, because he needs to maintain his brand image and network with other entrepreneurs. His income, maybe $400 a month from affiliate links selling protein powder, plus the occasional sponsored post from a local gym that pays him in free membership. Then there's Emma. She's the academic golden child. Valedictorian, scored 1520 on the SATs, got into UT pre-med with a partial scholarship. Mom never shuts up about her. At church, the grocery store, family gatherings, she always brags about her future doctor. She's even got Emma's acceptance letter framed in the living room and manages to bring up her GPA in conversations that have nothing to do with education. The problem? College is insanely expensive, even with scholarships. Books are $300 to $400 a semester. Add in housing, meal plans, lab fees, parking passes, required tech, it piles up fast. And Emma, being 20, also wants the normal college experience. Going out with friends sometimes, buying clothes that aren't Walmart basics. Meanwhile, I'm just the steady, reliable one. The computer fixer, who pays bills on time. Not flashy enough for mom to brag about. When people ask about me, she goes, "Marcus works with computers," in the same tone you'd use to describe someone bagging groceries. The financial mess started 18 months ago when Tyler got evicted from an apartment he shared with 3 roommates. He hadn't paid his share of rent for 2 months. At first, they covered him, thinking it was temporary. But when he spent his rent money on a new iPhone and expensive workout gear, they kicked him out. He started couch surfing, with his stuff in mom's garage, basically homeless. Then mom called me, sobbing, saying her baby was going to live in his car. "Marcus, you know how hard it's been for Tyler since his injury. He's still trying to get his life together after everything that happened. His dreams got crushed. He's doing his best to find a new path. Could you help him just until he gets on his feet? Maybe cover security deposit and first month's rent? She guilt-tripped me hard. Painted Tyler as this tragic figure, robbed of his athletic future, struggling to rebuild his life while the world didn't understand his potential. I should have said no. But when your mom is crying about your brother sleeping in his car, what do? I agreed. Just temporarily. That was March 2022. It's now March 2024. I've been paying his rent every single month. Emma's situation started around the same time. Her scholarships covered tuition and part of housing, but she needed help with everything else. Books, food, lab supplies, a laptop, plus normal college living expenses. Mom gave me a big speech about how education is an investment in the family's future. She said helping Emma now would pay dividends for generations. She even brought up Dad. Your father always said education was the one thing nobody could take away from you. That hit hard. So I agreed. I started sending Emma $800 a month for expenses. Between her and Tyler, I was paying $2,600 every month. More than my own mortgage. And here's the kicker. Neither Tyler nor Emma knew. Mom handled all of it and made it seem like she was footing the bills herself, with some mix of savings, Dad's old life insurance, and budgeting magic. They thought she was sacrificing her own comfort to support them. Meanwhile, Mom constantly criticized me. My condo was too small for someone my age. My car was embarrassing compared to Tyler's leased BMW 340i, which, turned out I was secretly financing through car payments Mom claimed she was covering. She'd tell me I didn't dress well, that I was still single because I wasn't putting myself out there, that I was coasting in my career. Marcus, you're 28, still single, living in that little apartment. Tyler has his business ambitions. Emma's becoming a doctor. What are you doing with your life? You can't just coast forever on that computer job. The irony could kill. I was the one funding the success she bragged about while she shamed me for not being enough. Family dinners became unbearable. Every other Sunday, we'd gather, and Tyler would dominate the conversation with his latest business idea. Usually some dropshipping scam from YouTube, TikTok crypto tips, or a plan to start a fitness coaching program with 0 certifications. He'd say, I'm really focusing on building my personal brand right now, and Mom would beam at him like he was Elon Musk. He'd say this while scrolling through his phone, not even really looking up. The social media space is exploding, and I'm positioned to really capitalize on the fitness influence market. I've got some potential partnerships with supplement companies that could be game changers. Mom would hang on every word like he was pitching to venture capitalists instead of just describing pipe dreams at family dinner. She'd ask follow-up questions about his business strategy, nodding seriously, while he explained why he had to invest in expensive camera equipment or why he needed to attend some entrepreneur conference in Vegas. Tyler's got such an entrepreneurial spirit, she'd gush to anyone who would listen. He's going to be very successful once he finds the right opportunity. He's just being strategic about building the foundation first. Emma would then chime in with updates about her classes, her research opportunities, internship applications, and MCAT prep. Mom would beam with pride, constantly interrupting to add extra details about Emma's accomplishments, making sure everyone in the room understood how brilliant her daughter was. Emma's professor said her research paper was graduate-level work. Mom would announce proudly. She's already thinking about what medical specialty she wants to pursue. I keep telling people I'm going to have a doctor in the family. And then it would be my turn. I'd mention work projects, new certifications I was pursuing, or some technology trends I found interesting. Mom would nod politely for maybe 30 seconds, then immediately pivot to Tyler again. Tyler, did you tell everyone about that company that wants to sponsor your fitness posts? The company she was talking about? A local gym that had offered him a free membership if he posted about their facility once a week. Tyler presented it like Nike had given him an endorsement deal. I started skipping some of these family dinners, making excuses about work obligations or other commitments. When Mom noticed, she asked why I was missing so many gatherings. I told her I was busy with projects and career development. Her response? She accused me of isolating myself and not prioritizing family. Family should come first, Marcus. Work will always be there, but family is forever. I'm worried you're becoming one of those people who's married to their job instead of investing in the relationships that really matter. The cognitive dissonance was insane. I was literally funding 2/3 of her children's lives, and she was lecturing me about family priorities, while also criticizing me for not being successful enough to earn her respect. Then last month, things got worse. Way worse. Tyler's latest scheme imploded spectacularly. He had convinced some of his gym buddies to invest in his revolutionary fitness app. Basically, it was just a generic workout tracker with motivational quotes. He promised it would disrupt the fitness industry. He even put together an elaborate business plan he'd copied from some online template, complete with absurd projected revenue numbers. He told them this app would compete with Nike Training Club and MyFitnessPal, and that within 2 years, he'd sell it to a major company. His friends, buying into the hype, invested between $1,000 and $3,000 each, about $8,000 total. They thought they were getting in on the ground floor of the next big fitness breakthrough. But what actually happened? Tyler took their money and spent it on his lifestyle. New clothes, expensive dinners, a weekend trip to Miami to network with entrepreneurs. Basically personal luxuries that had nothing to do with app development. When his friends started asking for updates after 3 months, he stalled with excuses about development delays and perfecting the user experience. Finally, when they demanded to see proof, any proof of actual work, the truth unraveled. There was no app, no developer, no real plan beyond taking their money. His friends realized they'd been scammed. They started threatening him with legal action for fraud. So Tyler went straight to Mom in full-blown panic, terrified of lawsuits and criminal charges. And, of course, Mom called me at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, also in crisis mode. Marcus, Tyler made some mistakes, but he's learned his lesson. You know how he gets excited about ideas and sometimes doesn't think things through properly. He never meant to hurt anyone. He really thought he could make the app work. He just needs help getting out of this mess before it ruins his future. Could you loan him $8,000 to pay back his investors? $8,000. On top of the $1,800 rent I was already paying every month. On top of his car insurance. On top of the other random expenses Mom had gradually added to my plate. I told her flat out, "Mom, this isn't a mistake or poor planning. He took money under false pretenses and blew it on personal stuff. That's fraud." Her response? "Don't be so dramatic, Marcus. It's not fraud. He really intended to build the app. Things just didn't work out the way he planned. These things happen in business. He needs our support, not judgment." And for the first time in 18 months, I finally said no. "Mom, I can't keep bailing him out every time he makes terrible decisions. He needs to face the consequences and figure it out himself. Maybe this will finally teach him that actions have repercussions." She absolutely lost it. She screamed that I was selfish, abandoning family in their time of need, and showing my true character. According to her, successful people help their family no matter what. My refusal proved I wasn't the man she raised me to be. "Your father would be ashamed of you right now," she spat, her voice shaking. "He always helped his family no matter what. That's what real men do. They step up when their loved ones need them. Instead, you're going to let your brother's life be destroyed over money." That was Tuesday. By Friday, Tyler had magically scraped together the money to pay his investors back and avoid legal action. My guess? Mom dipped into her savings or took out a loan against the house. 2 weeks later, Emma called me directly. For the first time in months. She was stressed about an unexpected $350 lab fee for some specialized chemistry course. She asked if I could help. When I asked why she wasn't going through Mom like usual, she let it slip. Mom had told her I'd been covering college expenses. "Mom said you've been really generous helping with school costs," Emma admitted. "I never realized you were contributing so much. I thought Mom was covering everything from Dad's insurance money and her savings." That's when it clicked. Mom had finally started telling them the truth. probably trying to guilt me into giving Tyler that $8,000 by showing him how much I'd already invested in the family. And then came the Easter blow-up. 3 weeks ago, Mom called me for what I thought would be a normal check-in. She wanted to confirm I was coming to Easter dinner at my aunt's house. My dad's sister, the one who hosts every year. Easter is our biggest family tradition. All the aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, 25 to 30 people, gather for a massive meal with multiple courses. Everyone brings their signature dishes. It's been happening since I was a kid. Of course I'm coming, I said. I already bought ingredients for the potato salad you asked me to bring. Got Grandma's recipe, just like you wanted. There was a pause. Actually, Marcus, we need to talk about that. I've been thinking. And maybe this year, Easter should be for successful family members only. You know, people who've really made something of themselves and have achievements to celebrate. At first, I thought she was joking. Some weird attempt at motivation. What do you mean? I asked. Well, Tyler's social media business is really taking off now. He's up to almost 900 followers and has some exciting partnership opportunities coming up. And Emma's excelling in her pre-med program. She just got invited to join an exclusive research program. They're both doing amazing things with their lives, really making progress toward their goals. She paused again. I could hear her gearing up for the blow. You're just working the same job you've had for years. Same apartment, same routine, same everything. It might be awkward for you to be around all the family success stories and achievements. People are going to be asking about career developments and life milestones. And what are you going to say? That you're still doing tech support? I'm a senior network engineer, I corrected. Same difference, she said. It's not exactly inspiring, is it? I think it would be better for everyone if you took some time to focus on improving yourself instead of just showing up to family events without having anything to be proud of. Maybe next year you'd have some real accomplishments to share. The audacity was breathtaking. She was uninviting me from Easter, our biggest family tradition, because I wasn't successful enough, while I was literally the one paying for her successful children's lives. Are you seriously uninviting me from Easter because you don't think I'm successful enough? I asked. I'm not uninviting you, Marcus, she replied. I'm suggesting that maybe you need some motivation to make positive changes in your life. Sometimes a little embarrassment can be a good wake-up call. Your Aunt Karen was asking about your career progress last Christmas, and I didn't know what to tell her. It's embarrassing when people ask about your children's achievements, and one of them doesn't have any. I hung up without saying another word. Then I spent the next 2 hours pacing around my apartment in complete shock. This woman had just uninvited me from Easter, our most important family tradition, because I wasn't successful enough by her standards. The same woman whose calls I'd been answering for 18 months, every single time her golden children needed money. That's when I decided enough was enough. I pulled up my banking app and started canceling payments. Tyler's rent. Canceled. Emma's monthly support. Canceled. Tyler's car insurance that I'd been covering. Canceled. The gym membership I'd been paying for Tyler. Canceled. Even the family cell phone plan I'd taken over to help Mom save money. Canceled. 18 months of automatic transfers, standing payment authorizations, and financial support disappeared with just a few clicks. Then I sent a group text to Mom, Tyler, and Emma. Just heard Easter is for successful children only. Good luck with next month's bills. I'm sure Tyler's 847 Instagram followers will help with the rent. And then I blocked all their numbers. The blowback was immediate and nuclear. Mom tried calling from different numbers. Her work phone, neighbors' phones, even random family members. The story shifted depending on who was delivering it and what angle she thought would work. Sometimes it was a misunderstanding, and she had never actually uninvited me from Easter. Other times I was overreacting to a joke about success that I'd taken too seriously. Once it was her claiming she was only concerned about my isolation and thought I needed space to work on myself and my attitude. Tyler showed up at my apartment building 2 days later. The complex has controlled access, so he couldn't get to my door. But I watched him through my window, pacing around the parking lot for over an hour. He tried calling from different numbers, left messages with the apartment management office, and even attempted to follow other residents through the security door. When he realized I wasn't coming down, he started yelling in the parking lot about how I was screwing over my own family and destroying his life over some petty drama. A neighbor called building security, and they escorted him off the property. He left a long note under my car windshield. "Bro, I don't know what Mom said to you, but this isn't cool. I've got rent due in 3 days and Mom said you're not helping anymore. This affects my credit score and my living situation. I could be homeless because of your tantrum. We're supposed to be family. That means supporting each other through tough times. Call me back. We can work this out like adults." The entitlement was stunning. No apology for 18 months of taking my support for granted. No acknowledgement that I'd been covering his expenses. Just anger that I'd stopped being their personal ATM machine. Emma's reaction was different, but equally manipulative. She sent long emails from her university account about how my sudden withdrawal of support was jeopardizing her education and future career. She'd apparently been counting on my monthly contributions for her final 2 years of college and had budgeted around that income. "I don't understand why you're punishing me for whatever happened between you and Mom," she wrote. "I've been working so hard to make you proud, maintaining my GPA and staying focused on becoming a doctor. My education shouldn't be a weapon in your family drama. This isn't about me, but I'm the one who's going to suffer the most from your decision. I might have to drop out or take on massive student loans that will follow me for decades." The victim mentality was incredible. I was suddenly the bad guy for stopping my voluntary financial support that neither of them had asked for nor acknowledged for over a year. The family pressure campaign only intensified over the following weeks. My grandmother called to lecture me about family loyalty and how disappointed she was in my behavior. She'd apparently been told I was punishing Tyler and Emma over some silly argument with Mom. "Your grandfather and I didn't raise our children to abandon family members over money," she said. "Blood is thicker than water, Marcus. These children need your help, and turning your back on them is not the Christian thing to do." My aunt forwarded me screenshots of Tyler's Instagram posts about fake family and people who abandon you when you need them most. He was posting motivational content about toxic relationships and cutting negative people from your life. The irony was completely lost on him. Emma's pre-med advisor apparently called Mom asking about tuition payment delays, which created another crisis. Emma was at risk of having her course registration frozen if certain fees weren't paid by specific deadlines. But the real crisis hit when Tyler received his 5-day eviction notice. Without my $1,800 monthly contribution, he couldn't cover his rent. His social media business generated maybe $400 on a really good month, and he had absolutely no savings. The landlord gave him a 5-day notice to pay or quit after the rent was 10 days late. Mom called from yet another number. Completely hysterical. I didn't answer, but she left a 20-minute voicemail detailing Tyler's desperate situation. "Marcus, Tyler's going to be homeless. He'll lose everything. His apartment, his business location for filming content, his whole setup. You can't let this happen to your own brother over some family disagreement. I've already promised his landlord that payment was coming. And if you don't help, Tyler will be on the streets. Is that what you want? Your brother living in his car because you decided to be petty?" The manipulation was obvious, but part of me genuinely felt guilty. Despite everything that had happened, Tyler was still my brother. The idea of him being homeless was upsetting, even though his situation was entirely due to his own poor decisions and unrealistic expectations. But then I remembered that Easter conversation. Successful children only. Emma's crisis came 2 weeks later when her university put a hold on her student account for unpaid fees. Apparently, Mom had been using my monthly contributions to cover various college expenses beyond what I'd thought I was paying for. And without that money, Emma couldn't register for summer classes or access certain campus resources. Emma called from a friend's phone, crying and desperate. "Marcus, I know you're mad at Mom about something, but please don't take it out on me. I'm trying to become a doctor to help people and save lives. Isn't that worth something? I'll pay you back after I graduate and get established in my career. I promise. I'll even pay interest if that makes it fair." The promise of future repayment from someone who'd never acknowledged the past 18 months of support was almost funny. But hearing her cry was genuinely hard. My resolve was tested again when Tyler moved back in with Mom. My aunt mentioned during one of her guilt trip calls that he was sleeping on Mom's couch and driving for DoorDash 12 hours a day just to make ends meet. Mom had even taken a second job stocking shelves at a grocery store at night to help cover basic expenses. "Your mother is working herself to death because you decided to be selfish," my aunt said. "She's 52 years old, stocking shelves from midnight to 6 a.m., then going to her regular job at the county office. All because her son won't help his own family during a difficult time." The guilt was real and crushing. These people were genuinely struggling, and I had the financial means to help them. But every time I considered reaching out, I remembered that Easter conversation. The casual cruelty of being uninvited from our most important family tradition because I wasn't successful enough, all while secretly funding the success they flaunted. The success of my siblings. The breakthrough came during an accidental encounter at the H-E-B grocery store where Mom had gotten her second job. I was doing my weekly shopping after work around 7 p.m. on a Thursday when I saw her in the produce section wearing the store uniform, khaki pants and a red polo shirt with a name tag. She looked exhausted, older than I remembered, with dark circles under her eyes and a weariness that made her seem fragile. When she saw me examining avocados 3 feet away, her face went through a cycle of emotions. Surprise, anger, desperation, and finally resignation. "Marcus." Her voice was flat, defeated. "Mom." We stood there for a moment in awkward silence between the apples and bananas. Both of us pretended to shop while processing the unexpected encounter. "How are you doing?" I asked, despite everything that had happened. "How do you think I'm doing?" "I'm working 2 jobs at 52 because my son decided to abandon his family over a misunderstanding about Easter dinner." "A misunderstanding?" I asked. "You know, I didn't mean that Easter thing the way it sounded. I worry about you sometimes, Marcus. You work so hard but don't seem happy or fulfilled. I thought maybe some space and motivation would help you figure out what you really want from life instead of just going through the motions." The rewriting of history was masterful. Now she was the concerned mother, worried about my happiness and fulfillment, not the woman who had uninvited me for being unsuccessful. What I really want is for my family to treat me with basic respect instead of like an ATM they can insult when it's convenient. Her facade cracked slightly. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under, Marcus. Tyler's struggling with depression after his injury destroyed his dreams. Emma's trying to become a doctor to help people. I'm trying to keep everyone together and support their goals. I made a mistake with what I said, but you're punishing all of us for it." "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not subsidizing your lives anymore." That's when she revealed the real scope of their financial crisis. Without my support, their household economics had completely collapsed. Tyler's failed business ventures had burned through what savings Mom had left. Emma's college expenses were piling up beyond what scholarships covered. The house payment was getting tight with Mom's reduced income. "I need your help, Marcus. Not just for them, but for me. I can't keep working these hours at my age. My back is killing me from stocking shelves, and I'm so tired. I can barely function at my day job. I'm scared I'm going to lose everything your father worked for." For a moment, I almost caved. She looked genuinely desperate and defeated. And despite everything, she was still my mother. But then I remembered 18 months of taking my financial support completely for granted while criticizing every aspect of my life and achievements. "Mom, when you called to uninvite me from Easter, did you think about the fact that I'd been covering Tyler's rent for over a year?" She looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "Did you consider that Emma's been able to focus on her studies instead of working part-time because I've been sending her money every month? You never made a big deal about helping because I was helping family. I didn't expect gratitude or recognition. I was just being supportive. But apparently, helping family for 18 months doesn't make me successful enough for Easter dinner." I walked away, leaving her standing in the produce section looking smaller and older than I'd ever seen her. The next day, Emma called from her own number for the first time since the cutoff. "Marcus, I talked to Mom last night. I had no idea you'd been helping me financially for so long. She always made it seem like she was covering my expenses from Dad's insurance money and her savings. Finally, some acknowledgement of reality. I wanted to thank you for everything you did. I know I never said it before because I didn't know. But looking back, I should have realized Mom couldn't afford all those expenses on her salary. I was naive about money and just assumed everything was taken care of. I appreciate that, Emma. I also want you to know I'm going to figure out how to handle my expenses without depending on anyone else. I've applied for 3 different work-study positions and I'm researching additional scholarships and grants. I don't want to be part of this family dysfunction anymore. That conversation gave me hope that at least one family member was capable of growth and genuine accountability. Tyler's response was predictably different. He somehow figured out where I worked, probably through LinkedIn or by calling my old company, and showed up in the parking lot after my shift ended. What the hell is wrong with you, man? You're really going to let me be homeless because Mom hurt your feelings about some stupid dinner? Tyler, I covered your rent for 18 months. Did you ever thank me for that? Thank you for what? I thought Mom was paying it from her savings. Even if Mom was paying it, did you ever thank her? Did you ever ask how she could afford to cover your expenses on her salary? He had no answer for that, because the thought had never crossed his mind. Look, I busted my ass working multiple part-time jobs trying to make my social media thing work, he said defensively. The influencer business takes time to build. I was starting to get real traction before this whole family drama started. Tyler, 847 followers after 3 years isn't traction. It's a hobby. You don't understand entrepreneurship or building a personal brand. Not everyone can just clock in and clock out at some boring office job and call it success. The contempt in his voice was familiar. This was exactly how my family had always viewed my career. Boring, safe, unambitious, not worthy of respect. But that boring office job had been funding his dreams for the past year and a half. You're right, Tyler. I don't understand entrepreneurship. I understand paying rent on time, showing up to work every day, and not scamming friends out of their investment money. Maybe try understanding that sometime. He called me jealous and stormed off. Later that evening, he posted a long Instagram story about toxic family members who try to tear you down when you're building something great, and people who can't handle your success so they try to sabotage you. The lack of self-awareness was stunning. 3 months after the Easter incident, Mom finally asked to meet in person for a real conversation. We went to a neutral location, a Panera Bread across town, and for the first time in years, she seemed genuinely humble and self-reflective. Marcus, I owe you a sincere apology. Not just for the Easter comment, but for how I've treated you for a long time. This was unprecedented territory. I realized something when Emma told me about your last conversation with her. I've been taking you for granted because you're the stable, responsible one. You don't create drama or need constant rescuing. So, I started seeing your help and support as automatic instead of generous. She paused, clearly struggling to find the right words. The Easter comment was awful and cruel. I was frustrated about money troubles and worried about Tyler's situation, and I took out my stress on you in the worst possible way. You didn't deserve that, especially considering everything you'd been doing to help us financially. What about Tyler's situation now? I asked. Tyler is going to have to figure things out on his own. He's 25 years old and can't keep expecting other people to fix his mistakes and bad decisions. I enabled that behavior by always rescuing him, and I'm trying to stop. And Emma. Emma's actually doing much better than any of us expected. She got approved for that work-study position in the chemistry lab, qualified for 2 additional small scholarships, and found a paid internship for the summer. She's managing her expenses pretty well on her own now. That was genuinely encouraging news. I'm not asking you to start helping financially again, Mom continued. I know I don't deserve that kind of generosity after how I treated you. I just want you to know that I understand how badly I screwed up our relationship, and I hope someday we can rebuild it based on mutual respect instead of expectations. We talked for over 2 hours. She was more honest about the family finances than she'd ever been before. Dad's life insurance money was essentially gone after years of poor budgeting and supporting Tyler's various schemes. Her county clerk salary was adequate for basic living, but not enough to support 2 adult children indefinitely. She'd been using my contributions to maintain a lifestyle none of them could actually afford on their own. That's what had really been happening. I should have pushed Tyler to get stable employment years ago instead of enabling his unrealistic fantasies about social media fame. And I should have celebrated your achievements and career success instead of taking them for granted while criticizing you for not being ambitious enough. It wasn't a complete reconciliation, but it felt like genuine progress toward rebuilding our relationship on healthier terms. Tyler's situation eventually worked itself out in a way that was both predictable and oddly satisfying. Unable to make rent and facing actual homelessness, he finally swallowed his pride and got a full-time job at FedEx loading trucks during the overnight shift. The work was physically demanding, the hours were brutal, and the pay was modest. Basically, everything he'd been avoiding for years while chasing social media fame. But something genuinely surprising happened once he started working consistently. The structure and steady income seemed to give him a kind of mental stability he'd been missing. He stopped posting delusional content about becoming an influencer and started talking about learning logistics operations. Maybe even working his way up in transportation management. I never realized how stressful it was not knowing where rent money was going to come from, he admitted during a family dinner 6 months later. Having a steady paycheck and knowing I can pay my bills is actually pretty great. I feel like an adult for the first time. He never directly apologized for the years of financial support I'd provided, or even acknowledged the sacrifices I'd made. But he did start showing genuine interest in my work and asking me for career advice. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. Emma graduated summa cum laude and got accepted to UT Southwestern Medical School with a substantial merit scholarship. She credits having to manage her own expenses during the final year of college with developing the financial responsibility and time management skills that helped her academically. Having to work part-time while studying was actually beneficial for me, she told the family. I learned to prioritize and budget in ways I never had to before. It made me appreciate my education more and taught me discipline. She's planning to specialize in family medicine and wants to work in underserved communities. That experience of financial stress, she says, gave her perspective on how economic troubles affect people's health and well-being. As for me, I got promoted to senior systems architect, with a substantial raise that put me over $110,000 annually. I used some of the money I'd been spending on family support to finally take that vacation to Japan I'd always wanted but never felt I could afford. The trip was incredible. 2 full weeks exploring Tokyo, Kyoto, and Hiroshima without worrying about anyone else's bills or crises. I sent pictures to the family group chat, and Mom actually responded with genuine enthusiasm about my adventures. "You look so happy and relaxed," she texted. "I'm proud of you for doing something just for yourself. You deserve that trip." That message meant more than she probably realized. It was the first time in years she'd expressed pride in my choices without adding criticism or suggesting improvements. We had Easter dinner together this year at my aunt's house. Everyone showed up, everyone was welcome, and nobody questioned anyone's right to be there. Tyler brought homemade dinner rolls he'd actually baked himself instead of just showing up empty-handed. Emma helped coordinate the meal and handled cleanup organization. Mom made sure to ask detailed questions about my work projects and actually listen to my answers without immediately changing the subject. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like genuine family interaction for the first time in years. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube, this video deserves to blow up.